Alright. Well, how about that? Well, it looks like I'm the only one here, so we'll get this started anyway. Yeah, welcome to this post-season review of the NASCAR iRacing Series Open season. Yeah. Gonna take a look at some of the races we did and see what we could have done different, how things went down overall, what we could have done different, and what I think I did good, what I didn't do so good, and other stuff. I don't know. Alright, so I guess I should show the final point standings. So yeah, I said in the end of the last video that I finished 61st overall. Well, I got past and wound up 62nd overall, which, what are you gonna do? It wasn't that big a deal. So yeah, 62nd overall. I have some stats here that you might want to look at. So, only 2 Division II drivers passed me in the final point standings, but I'm not too happy about that. I really wanted to at least finish ahead of some of those Division II drivers, but I was in pretty low splits at the beginning of the season. Didn't perform so well. So, that didn't turn out so well, but, you know, I did the best I could. Really, my only goal entering the season was to not finish last in my division, which I managed to do that, as you can see here. So I managed to beat 8 whole people in my division, which is not really very impressive, but again, I didn't really have any goals going into this season other than not be last in my division. So, accomplished that pretty handily. 62nd overall, 60th in my division. But yeah, I think I did okay overall. Oh, I forgot to show the club results. The club championship results, so there they are. I got beat out by a guy who didn't even run the full season. So, there you go. Yeah, I mean, there were a lot of weeks where I could have done better. I think if I ran more races, I would have done better for sure. You know, the whole thing was, at the beginning of the season, I thought I would get burned out if I ran. Alright, sorry about that. I don't think anybody's watching this anyway. So, yeah, I got interrupted there. What was I talking about? Yeah, I'm the only one on here anyway, so I didn't interrupt anybody. Yeah. So I made 30 starts overall over the course of a 22-week season. Yeah. Did okay with 8 top 5s, 13 top 10s. Not so proud about, this number right here. But, you know, yeah, I had a good run there and throughout most of the season. Finished a lot of the races, but had a couple of streaks of DNFs, unfortunately, and I kind of hurt my overall points total as well. I'm sure if I ran 2 races every week, I would have had better points. But yeah. You can see some of the stats here. 136 incidents over the course of the season. Yeah, that's a lot of incidents when you look at it like that. 1 pole, first NASCAR iRacing Series pole. $3,901 laps completed, 88.75% laps of the completed. I gotta get that number up next season. Had a pretty big iRating gain. I think I started the season at a 3,849 iRating, and right now I'm at 4587. I peaked at 4665, but those DNFs at Atlanta and Richmond definitely hurt the iRating there. So, yeah. So without further ado, let's get into the videos. I wanted to spend a few minutes looking at each video, and we can figure out all the things we did wrong here. So here we go. We gotta start this off with the first race of the season, the Daytona 500. In fact, we should probably watch the whole thing, so there we go. Hey buddy, here we are.
Race cars in. Green, green, green.
This 16 car was a bit slow on the start. Here we go. We'll get up to speed down the back straightaway and then see if we can fall behind the pack here.
Clear low, clear low.
I did work on my setup a little bit. I was able to get a little more speed out of it, overall speed. But we're gonna have to work on it a bit. I couldn't get the setup just the way I wanted it. I couldn't get the way I wanted it just by setting it up alone, so we're going to have to make some pit stop adjustments, we're going to have to make some wedge and tire pressure adjustments for sure. Alright, this looks like a safe enough spot for me to just ride along right now. No need to get crazy in the opening laps. Of course, if you saw my practice race, you'll know I was involved in the big one on lap 4. So I'm definitely trying to avoid that. No reason to get wrecked out so early in the Daytona 500.
Jason, stay off me in the corners, on me on the straightaway, and we'll get up quicker. Because we won't have to swap.
Alright, here we go, already. Oh! Yeah, that was my entire Daytona 500. That was pretty piss poor. We made it 2 whole laps in the Daytona 500 before getting wrecked out.
Wanted it.
So, there's really not much to talk about here. You see him go 3 wide in front of me. Actually, I believe this is the lap before that. But there's not much to see here. You see him go 3 wide in front of me, and I didn't even bother to... I didn't even think anything was going to happen here. It was so early in the race. And I just wasn't thinking anything could happen at this point, but, you know, you never know. You always got to be on your toes during a race. And I wasn't. And you can see this 16 car, who's the car in the middle, he comes down just slightly after making it 3 wide by sticking his car in the middle. And the 25 has no choice but to hit him in the left rear quarter panel. And there he goes, sliding off. And it looks like he's gonna slide towards the infield. So my initial reaction is to drift wide, go to the right of him, and hope we can avoid him. But he somehow turns it to the right. And there I am, and his attempt to avoid hitting the wall was futile, because I was there. So what could I have done differently here? Well, if you notice, look at the bottom left. Yeah. I barely hit the brakes at all there. I was on it for like a second, thought, you know, I could get past him. I thought he was gonna slide down through the grass in the infield. Couldn't get by him, and made the wrong decision in the heat of the moment, and just didn't go right. I could have checked up more definitely. But you know what's happened, and that's all there is to it. I mean, I could have done a better job avoiding it probably, but super speedway wrecks are just very hard to avoid at all costs, and chances are, even if you do everything right, you'll still get caught up in the big one or some sort of accident. But yeah, that was the end of the Daytona 500 after only completing 2 laps. I believe it said I had too much damage already. So that was that, and I was credited with a 31st place finish. What am I talking about, 8th? I was credited with a 31st place finish and only 8 points. So the next race was Phoenix. This was the final race on the old layout of Phoenix. They actually rescanned Phoenix recently, and it's on iRacing now, and I've tried it. It's pretty fun, but I kind of liked this version better, honestly. Punishes mistakes more, I think. Not as much room to just drive wherever you want, really, but yeah. There wasn't really much to talk about in this race.
I haven't actually ran at Phoenix in a long time.
I don't know what I'm talking about here. But yeah. I started dead last in this race, 32nd of 32 cars. And quickly started making my way up. Actually got up to 13th at one point, I think.
All clear, all clear. Now it looks like he's going to take the position. Well, now I know not to do that.
I believe that was the highest I actually got in that race. Where is this in the race? It was only lap 26. So, you know, we had a long way to go still, and just keeping the car clean was really enough to get all of those positions early in the race, because there were a lot of cautions, as I recall, in this race. So, yeah, here was the first caution. And I was already up to 21st after the first caution there. Second caution. Third caution. Oh, I was up to 12th. 20 spots in how many laps? 35 laps. Fourth caution. Alright, here is the final restart. This is where things got a little hairy for me.
The pace car is in. Green flag, green flag. Got one inside. Clear low, clear low.
Looks like we're gonna get one car on the inside, maybe.
Stay high.
Go ahead,
Stay
Rick.
high.
Maybe not. Might actually
Clear low,
lose
clear
the
low.
spot.
Inside.
as I almost outbrake
Still
myself.
there.
And into the 11.
Still there. All clear, all
I
clear.
should not have let the 30 have that spot. Well, you can have that. And they're wrecking right behind me. Wonderful.
Clear low, clear low.
This was a precursor of things to come. You'll see that in a second here.
Man, I really thought the 18 would get slowed up. That's why I let him have it. But you know what? I'll shut the... and thanks.
Here we go again, turn 4.
Alright, man, caution is out. Caution is out.
And of course...
Yep, and I'm wrecked again. Oh boy, that was pretty interesting. Yeah, what happened here, if you watch behind me, the 22 car is all over the place in this race. And I'm trying to drive way too defensively, way too early on. See, the 18 car dive bombs here. That blue car is the 22, and he gets into the 13, trying to dive bomb into turn 1, runs the 13 all the way up the track here. And that should have been a sign to me that, okay, this guy is too dangerous, I should just let him pass. But that is clearly not the decision that I made here. So this was kind of a dumb decision on my end. I'm pretty sure I say right here something like, oh, I'm gonna shut the door on him, and yeah, that was a horrible idea.
But you know what? I'll shut the...
I was about to say I was gonna shut the door on him, and that didn't go so well. And I should have known better, because he was all over the place just the lap before, and it was kind of stupid of me to, you know, be driving so defensively so early in the race. Still had over 100 laps to go, so I had no reason to really be defending so hard. See, right here he bumps me, but I still could have done things better too, even after the spin began. I got the 0x here, okay? So I'm counter steering, and I locked the brakes up. Okay, this was a bad idea. In retrospect, what I could have done was actually just stay in the gas, and I would hope to maybe spin the car around in the area where you slow down for pit road, and you know, by staying in the gas, I would just do a 360 onto pit road, and I would probably have gotten a penalty, but I probably would have done a better job at protecting the car at least. So, but instead I locked the brakes up, and the car sort of just kind of slid towards the outside wall right into traffic, and that wasn't a good idea. Had I just stayed in the gas and let it loop around, I would have only gotten a 2X, and I probably wouldn't have got damage from that. At worst, I probably would have hit the sandbag things that align the wall where you enter pit road, but that still would probably not have been as bad as what happened. So then I had to fix damage, and I kept going around and round till this happened.
So that's a sign. So.
Oh, where is it?
Now, don't tell me now we're gonna go on a fucking green flag.
Oops, I kind of spoiled it.
And there I go.
Yep, the engine blew. Too much damage and not enough laps to get it done. So yeah, that was the second DNF in a row. And I only got out of Phoenix with a 28th place finish. So, you know, that was 2 poor weeks in a row, and I heard my phone go off, maybe. Well, that's okay. I'm sure a lot of you will see this afterwards. Okay. Wow. That was race 2 of the season. So we've already had 2 poor finishes in a row. '31st and 28th. And actually I didn't complete 67 laps, I completed 66 laps. So there you go. 2 weeks in and we've earned a total of 41 points. And finished 0 races. But now it's time to take a look at race 3, Las Vegas. This was actually a pretty fun race, very low caution count. I kind of just hung around in the back because, you know, I was just trying to finish the race really at this point because, as you saw, didn't do that either of the first 2 races. So, you know, that didn't end up too well. Yeah.
I'm gonna back out of that.
I don't know where I started, but okay, 23rd. Yeah. Yeah, despite the low caution count, there were a lot of incidents at the back of the pack where I was running in this race, and guys getting just a little too crazy. There were a bunch of instances of this in this race. This is actually my first time running Las Vegas, and to date still the only time I've run Las Vegas. Yeah, very interesting track. In this build that you see in the video here, it was extremely line sensitive. The thing about Las Vegas seems to be if your line's not perfect, the car was just going to be completely out of control, and you just had to finesse your steering wheel and your pedals just to the right point where you know the car wouldn't slide out and wouldn't do anything ridiculous like that. Yeah, there wasn't really a lot going on in this race. I know I got 1-4X at some point. Which I guess was about here.
Still there. Clear, clear, clear. Need on lap 10? I don't think so. That.
I can't quite find it.
As the three car just hit the wall there. Wonder if he has any damage. Definitely lost a lot of momentum. Oh! What the hell, Cody?
Yeah, I looked at the replay after the race. I saw, the 3 car actually bounced off the wall here. And, he had no choice. I mean, I was right there, and once he ran into the wall, he just bounced off it and right into me. And you see a guy, spinning right in front of me, too. Yeah, see, here's the 3 car on the wall. Up here. I should have backed out of it here, but, I didn't. I don't know why, but I didn't. I mean, there was easily a couple of car widths between us, but still, should have backed out of it. And then you see the 12 car spinning right in front of me. I mean, it was pretty chaotic. I don't know how there wasn't a caution there. It seemed like there definitely should have been a caution at that point. I think I even commented about it during the race. I think a caution came out shortly after that, though. I was able to fix some of that damage, but that wasn't the worst of our problems. Not at all. So I was racing this lapper for a while, and I got pretty frustrated with him. I think I was riding around him for like 10 laps or so before this, or maybe even longer than that. Yeah, you hear the comment, finally. I think it was closer to like 20 laps where I was forced to ride behind that guy, basically. So I want to go to about lap 100 here. I know at this point I'm not going to win the race, but I know I can try and get some points out of strategy, basically. As long as I can, you know, execute everything else properly. Not a winning car, but a top 10 car even with the damage. I knew that going into the race. But yeah, this was the first green flag pit stop of the season, and it was a mess. Just listen.
10 car pitting, 10 car pitting. What a terrible pit entry. Lost a lot of time there, but I did not expect them to go green for this long.
Okay, you see what happens here is I overshoot the box a ton. I'm pretty much right where I need to be in the pit stall. I'm still going 27 miles an hour. That is not good. That is absolutely horrendous.
Oh.
And I've completely overshot the box, and I'm still going 11 miles an hour. And I've completely locked up the brakes at this point, and actually slid the car almost 45 degrees sideways.
Fuck.
So I slam it into reverse. I'm panicking at this point, because I know I screwed up big time. And, Let's see what happens when I try to reverse.
Oh, this is going...
Yeah, the car gets hung on the wall, and the rear wheels start hopping, and there is nothing I can do. I am absolutely screwed here. I need to drive it a little past the box, and then reverse back into the stall. But I panic and make an even worse decision.
231 pitting this time.
Oh my god, we gotta go around again.
Yes, for no apparent reason at all, other than the fact that I panicked. I decide to go around again and waste even more time.
What the fuck?
Cody.
Oops.
What the fuck?
Cody.
That was horrible.
Now, watch what happens when I exit the stall. I mean, not the stall, exit pit road. There you go. Speeding penalty caught just at the end of pit road at the last sector. Yeah. That was pretty pathetic.
Speeding? Ah,
What the fuck's going on with that?
31.
one little mistake can cost you. It halfway completely goofed on that. That is all.
So it serves a penalty first, okay. But there's optional to be fixed.
Alright, so let's do this. Let's do this. This is not good. This is exactly the opposite.
Yeah, the crew didn't change the tires, they just did the optional because I didn't select the tires in time. So, yeah. I had to go around even more. Had to go around one more time.
Completely through experience.
But yet, somehow, I wound up with a 17th place result. You know, this is just a prime example of why you cannot make mistakes. I threw away a top 10 run only for the reason that I screwed up on pit road. Not once, but twice, and you can't do that in this series at all. You just cannot do it. I mean, you gotta be perfect, you gotta hit your marks, you gotta be under the speed limit before you get to pit road, you gotta follow it all the way down pit road, you can't miss your stall, you gotta get all your options right. And just not make mistakes on the track, and not on pit road either. And on a long run, you know, you can really just get some spots through attrition and strategy there. Hey buddy, how you doing? I think there's only, wow. Well, sorry I missed you, Legendary Racing, but I guess you get a shout out. So, on to Bristol. We have earned a total of 150 points after Las Vegas. Still not good, but better than last week. So on to Bristol, round 4. This is another awful race. So let's go ahead and watch the beginning of the race.
Gotta try and get up to this outside line as soon as possible.
Outside. You're clear.
Oh, one thing I want to note here is this is the first time I qualified for a race. I thought, you know, I kept getting involved in wrecks every race early on in the season. So I figured, hey, I'll just start in the front. I'll just be sure to avoid all the trouble there, because all the wreckers will be in the back, right? Well,
A little loose on the inside, but we're okay. We're able to find a spot in line nice and early. Some guys are gonna try and run the middle. Oh. Jeez.
and I was dead wrong. I still found a way to get involved in a wreck. It just goes to show you, it doesn't matter where you start. You can get wrecked at the front, you can get wrecked at the back, you can get wrecked in the middle. You can get wrecked anywhere as long as you're around other cars and you don't know what they're going to do. So, when people ask me, you know, why don't I qualify? It's because of this. You can get wrecked anywhere at any time. It does not matter where you start. It does not matter where you are running in the middle of the race. You can get wrecked by anybody at any time. So yeah. Lap 2 of a 250 lap Bristol race. And my car is already destroyed. I even made a little note here.
Well, that's gonna happen, unfortunately.
You're gonna have to come around to 13. You're gonna have to come around.
See, the problem with this is you have to be prepared for anything, basically. You have to be prepared for anything at any time. And you can't make excuses like I was unprepared and other nonsense like that. Yeah, in this build that this race took place, and the damage was turned up to 11 basically, and even minor damage would cost you a lot of time on pit road, and it would make the car pretty much undrivable. It would just completely tear up the suspension, completely knock out the toe, and it was very, very miserable to drive once you got involved in an accident. As you can see here.
Here in this race, it'll be a miracle.
One inside.
Yeah, it's lap 53.
Doesn't mean I'm not racing still.
It's lap 53, and I've already been lapped twice. And I just hit the wall there. That is not good. And if I remember correctly, I got knocked around quite a few times in this race. See if I can find an example of it. I only actually received that one 4X in this race, so, you know, I couldn't find a lot of the other incidents here. I know I got involved in incidents with the 25 car, I got involved in incidents with another car where I got shoved into the wall. Let's see if I can find some of them here, but... Oh, I think I just missed one, actually. Well, it doesn't matter. The point is I got shoved into the wall, and I accidentally drove the car into the wall a number of times. But I struggled, persevered, and managed to claw my way back up. And I'm hitting the wall here. I managed to claw my way up to a 21st place finish after getting wrecked at the very beginning of the race. So, still haven't earned a lot of points. 4 races into the season, which is pretty unfortunate, but you know, that's how racing goes sometimes. Finally managed to get a race without an incident here at Fontana. So I guess I kind of spoiled that.
Week 5 of the NASCAR iRacing Open Series. Been to turn 4 for no obvious reason. People who are out of the race and are mad. And you haven't already. Just loose. All.
I guess I started 14th in this race. Now this is my first race at Auto Club, and again, to date, my only race at Auto Club. And I really am not a fan of the track. I don't like the ugh, I can't talk. I'm not a fan of these big ovals. I find I can't carry the momentum to the corners very well here. I don't like the fact that Fontana is a one-lane track on iRacing either, but nothing you can really do about that. But, being the first race at Fontana, there were a number of big wrecks early in the going. So, let's take a look.
Wasn't expecting it to be quite that loose. I should have been a little more patient there.
Yeah, this setup I was driving was just ungodly, unbearable, undrivable loose through the exit of the corner. I don't know how I controlled it for 100 laps, but somehow I managed, and we got some timely cautions here to break things up. Yeah, you can see I was just struggling with the car a ton.
Control it and already spinning off.
Yeah, look at this big wreck. Some great wreck avoidance here, actually.
Oh, here we go. Already spinning off. Whoa.
Yeah, that's the power of checking up for big wrecks in front of you. I think that was the first time I really had like decent wreck avoidance in the season, and I needed that more often, but wasn't meant to be. So this is the first time I was running in the top 5 in a race all season. But I eventually fell out of it and just kind of fell into my own rhythm here on this longish green flag run. Yeah, I fell back as far as 11th. I think what happened was I actually hit the wall out of turn 4 once. The car was just so loose. I couldn't drive it, and wound up hitting the wall. And then I wound up doing it a bunch more times. Not here, of course.
Tires that are falling back now. Halfway.
So yeah, this was the final green flag run to end the race at just about halfway in.
Another good jump on the outside line. This 26 car did not get going at all. He was completely asleep on the restart there.
I think what I could have done here was, if I saw the race was going green for a while, I would have pitted at about lap 75. This is what I should have done, not what I did. But I think as far as strategy goes, I would have been better to break the last half of the race into two halves as far as pit strategy goes and pit here. And you can see at least one person had that idea and actually was coming out of the pits here. That guy actually managed to finish well in front of us, I think. I think if I were to do this again, I would have probably pitted around lap 75 and just taken two right side tires and hope that I could control it for a few laps and I'd be better off on the strategy. I would only have to take one can of fuel and it would save about 6 or 7 seconds on the pit stop. Maybe about 5 seconds, I don't know. But instead, I decide to pit later in the race. And then we get another pucker moment here.
Oh, come on.
Yeah, that's a pretty big mistake to make at the end of the race. Just trying to get too much out of it. I hit the gas trying to get a little more out of it on entry to pit road because I thought I was being a little too conservative there. And got too much out of it and the car just started to slide. I was put in a bad position by the 3 car, I remember. I wanted to get to the inside, but he was already there, and I really didn't want to be in that position, but I didn't have much of a choice because I had less than a lap of fuel left in the tank. And just trying to get too much out of it because I thought I was being too conservative. Coming off the banking, hit the gas, and I have to counter steer to avoid hitting the wall. Locked up the brakes, counter steer the other way. I get it under pit road speed, but it's a pretty costly mistake. Probably cost me about a second or so by doing that, and that might have been enough to get me another position. Yeah, I didn't actually get in an incident in this race, but like I said, I hit the wall a bunch of times, and it knocked out my toe, and it was just really, really frustrating to drive.
Call me the choker, because that's all I do, apparently.
In this case, yeah.
If we do it.
I think there's a pretty good example of me hitting the wall right here. The toe was just knocked out. I could feel it in the steering wheel. The car just felt horrible, and I couldn't get the rear end to stick at all. Not that it was sticking well before, but yeah. And then I hit the wall again. Oh, almost hit the wall again, I guess. I think this was the final lap, but actually this is the second to final lap. Yeah, hit the wall one more time there. And I managed to get a position out of fuel strategy, and sadly that was the best result of the season. So P13. Pretty terrible. So yeah, 5 races in, and only took me a month to get a top 15, but the luck starts to turn around after here. This is Martinsville, race 6. Did not start well, as you can see.
Oh, we got a wreck already. Wreck already.
There's the bottom. Outside.
Oh, man.
Yeah, with a little bit of luck and some halfway decent wreck avoidance skills as I drive to the pace car, managed to survive a lap 1, turn 1 crash. And even though I started mid-pack, immediately after that I jump up into the top 6. Now, granted, there were a lot of cautions, but pretty much managed to stay around this area for most of the race. I remember there was one somewhat exciting time where I was more towards the back of the pack on a restart, which was right here.
We do have new tires, though, so that could help to an extent.
Still inside. In and out.
Oh, boy.
Inside. One wide. Still there.
Got one on the inside still.
Yep, still
Still
4
there.
laps to go. Too early for it.
Clear.
Clear. Okay. One getting loose under braking. This is not going to work out.
A lot of these guys in front of me on this restart are on older tires, and they're also damaged. So, you know, they just were not going to be as fast. And I get blocked big time here by the 4 car. That would turn out to be a theme, however, with the 4 car. Every race I was in with him, he blocked defensively pretty much every race. Anytime you made a run at him, he would block. Anytime he thought he had a run, he would take it, and you pretty much had to roll over or he would wreck you. So I wasn't too happy with him over the course of the season. And he was also one of the whiniest guys on the voice chat throughout the season, so I was not too happy with him, and I didn't want to get into an argument with him, so I just didn't even bother acknowledging it, and I didn't bother trying to rough him up or whatever, just because I didn't feel it was necessary. There was a caution pretty shortly after this, but actually there were a bunch of cautions in this race, I think 14 in total. Yet, we still managed to get on a long green flag run somewhere in the middle of the race. This is part of it, actually.
It'll do. Oh, come on, no caution. No caution, please, no caution. Alright, good. I don't want a caution right now.
You can see how, I was running pretty well during this long green flag run. I bet a lot of people were not expecting an 80-plus lap green flag run at Martinsville, of all places, but we managed to get one, and luckily, I always tune my setup for at least a 20-plus lap run, so, I feel like I had a bit of the upper hand here. Even though I wasn't the fastest car, I was one of the most consistent cars for sure. These late race restarts got pretty interesting, though. Yeah, at one point I was up to 3rd, and I thought I was going to finish 2nd at worst, honestly. I really thought I had a chance to win this race. I'm pretty good at tracks like this. But that doesn't help when you blow the tires. Not blow the tires. It doesn't help when you spin the tires on a restart. and completely blow your shot at winning the race, basically. Because there were only 20 laps to go.
Terrible restart.
And 20 laps at Martinsville is not a long time at all. So I pretty much blew the shot I had at winning just by spinning the tires at the end of the race there. There was another restart. Started third again. Had a better restart, but it wasn't good enough.
Trying too hard on the outside.
The 3-car pitted here. I didn't catch this during the race, but the 3-car pitted, I think the caution before this one. And he managed to work his way back up to the field on the restart before this. And he went ahead and, well, with a bit of luck, he was able to work his way through the field while I was busy hitting the 6 car, apparently. And I really didn't have much of a choice but to let him by. But that was pretty much the end of the race. I mean, I did manage to get one more position when Thomas, who I think was leading the race, accidentally spun himself out. I noticed with him multiple times throughout the season that he would just seemingly get loose for no reason and would basically spin out. I mean, I get the idea that loose is fast, but there's a limit to that. You can't just drive the car where it's wrecking loose and say, it's fast, I can win with it. You got to drive within your limits, and you got to be able to control the car at some level. Now, clearly he was able to control the car at some level, but I guess he choked and spins out and smacks it into the wall. Luckily, there wasn't a caution at the end of the race.
Too bad for him, but yes.
I love that reaction to the finish, though. Yeah, by far the best result of the season up to this point, 4th. Earned a good 200 plus points for that. And, I feel like that was about where I deserved to finish for that race for once. So, that was that. So the next race was race 7, Texas.
Okay, everybody, welcome to...
Now, I was trying out some new ideas for this race. Can't talk again. I was trying out some new setup ideas for this race, and I thought I had pretty much figured things out, but I came to find out, as I got closer to the front of the pack, that I wasn't quite as good as I wanted to be. But watch this initial start here. This is one of the craziest starts of a race of the entire season.
Green flag.
Should have pulled up more to the 6 on that start here.
Still there.
And he got a terrible run
Clear high.
going into turn
Outside.
1, so we're already looking pretty good.
Clear. Good job.
All right.
Outside.
Wow, 3 cars in 1 lap, maybe 4.
Outside.
That's pretty good.
Still there. Clear.
What is this, Daytona, USA?
Yeah, I managed to pass 4 cars in 1 lap. Actually 5, apparently. Or maybe somebody in front of me started in the pits and I didn't catch it. But yeah, you can see I had a lot of speed in this car for this race. So I started 20th, and in 2 laps, I gained 6 positions. But it doesn't end there. It does not end there.
A long race. Longer than normal, 167 laps, so we're just going to bide our time here. We have a very good long-run car. We'll get a little bit out of control, so conservatively right now, actually. It might not look like it, but I am.
Outside. Still there.
Oof, washing up the track just slightly. Don't want to get too close to that car in front.
Clear.
Don't want to get the arrow of mine, but you know, that is what it is.
It's still not over.
Just stabbing the brakes slightly, ever so slightly, into both of these corners here at Texas. Oh man, the car is on rails right now. I really like it right now. Feels very good in traffic. Just rolling out of the throttle a bit early. Backing out of it just slight.
Still there.
Oof. The inside line is the dominant line.
Outside.
Oh boy. This is gonna get a little crazy. Backing out of it just...
Yeah, and the caution comes out shortly after this, but in 8 laps we managed to pass about as many cars. So that was pretty fun. I was extremely surprised with the speed I had here, but after this point I seemed to kind of just fade out and kind of just stayed where I was for a while. Actually moved up 1 spot here. But there was a long green flag run. Actually a couple of them. There was a caution in the middle that broke them up. So I made a pit road mistake here. I believe I slid the car a little bit. Coming into the stall here, had to back it up. Lost a few spots and had to restart 15th.
Felt really good, all that... Oh, I had to check up there just a little bit.
The good thing though about oval racing is that you pretty much always get second chances, because it's almost guaranteed you're going to get cautions in these races. That's just the way they play out. So there's no reason to really push super hard if you know you have a good car early on in the race and you're stuck mid-pack. I mean, that's just racing. Sometimes you're stuck in a position where you don't really feel you deserve to be, but circumstances have put you there, and you have to strategize your way out of it, basically. And if you got a good car, you can do it. If not, you gotta wait and try and save your tires, or try and play some mind games, or think of something to try and get past some of these guys. And I believe I managed to move up a few spots during this green flag run. And see, I got up to 10th, but it all goes horribly wrong after this. Horribly, horribly wrong.
Boss man. Space car's off, be ready. Green flag, green flag. Catching them, brother. Go get them. You're doing exactly what you need to do. Inside, inside.
And once to the inside. We're going to lose the spot here.
Clear, clear.
Goal is just to not get fright. Whoa! Oh! Ah!
Way to go, 17. Way to
Two cars get together in front of me at one of the worst points on the track. Turn 2 is just extremely tight. There's not much runoff on the bottom of the track, on the apron of the track, and on a restart, you know, there's just really nowhere to go. You just have to try and do the best job you can at dodging and hope for the best, and I tried my best to get on the brakes here and try to get to the left, but, you know, it was a restart. Everybody was jammed together, and my best efforts weren't good enough. And we go head first into the wall at about 140 miles an hour and catch a ton of air. Engine blows immediately, and we are done at Texas after completing about half the race. Got some good views of it, though.
I don't know. I mean, I tried. But, you know, I thought I had it avoided, but these things just happen so quickly. I mean, that's just bad luck. I mean,
yeah, so that was that was easily the wildest looking crash of the year. And this was kind of the catalyst that made me realize that I need to focus better on just straight up finishing races. I think I got 21st place overall, or 23rd, I'm sorry. Yeah, 23rd. Finished that thing out in 23rd. So, on to race 8, Darlington, where I had a surprisingly good race. This was, again, first ever race on this track. And this was by far the biggest surprise of the season, and perhaps the reason why my channel got as popular as it did.
no, we're gonna take it easy tonight, if real loose. I just realized I never practice starts here. Alright, well, we're gonna get single file, so that's good. Oh, real loose under the power, turn 1. Might not talk much tonight. I really need to concentrate. They say oval racing is about racing the other cars, but this track is so much just racing the track more than the other drivers. Because this track is so hard. You have to be right up against the wall every lap, and if you make even one little mistake, you're in the wall.
And, you know, of course, that's still true. That'll probably always be true for Darlington. You just gotta keep it out of the wall. That was my only goal entering this race. And here's the 16 car, who is making it difficult for me on lap 2 of the race by deciding to start from the pits, but he manages to come out pretty much in the middle of the pack, so he gained absolutely nothing by starting in the pits.
The two cars have to work in opposed to an iRacing event.
You know, I tried my best to follow him, but it was clear he had a lot of speed, so I don't know why he started from the pits to begin with.
You want to get up as close to the wall as you can in turn 3 and 4 to, well, rather on the entry to turn 3, I'm sorry, but you want to get that wall bows out a little bit on the...
You know, I remember this 25 car had a bit of an issue with me at some point. So, let's see if I can find that.
You humanly can.
And I can't
So
talk
you can
there.
see the middle of the corner there.
obviously meant to say humanly.
Outside.
He may back out of it.
Outside.
And he does. Practice too, where the car just got loose like that. Fuck, that was close. That was a really bad. I have to make moves on the inside to do it.
Outside.
Damn, where was it?
Pass here. You don't have to back out of it every time just because it's lap 20.
Ah, here
Yeah, I
it
know it's
is.
lap 20. I don't need it that bad. I don't need it that.
Yeah, I was right about here. I'm trying to pass this 23 car. I know I'm faster than him. But, you know, the 25 is trying to talk to me.
Race. No, I'm being careful right now. I don't.
Yeah, let's listen to this.
So what if it's lap 20? It's a race. No.
Yeah, he says, racing is racing, but don't wreck each other. And we didn't wreck. You know, I was being very careful. I never touched the guy once, and somehow I'm the one that's being too aggressive. But he's all over the place, and apparently he's not causing a problem at all. And I'm trying to talk to him, trying to communicate that to him, that, you know, I know that just as much as him, and I'm not the one you need to be talking to about that.
I'm being careful right now. I don't need it that bad. I'm just trying not to wreck.
Which was true. I was just trying to get around this 23 car, and, you know, he knew he was slower than me, and he was hitting the wall every lap, and he was just making it difficult for me.
I hate that mindset. It's a race. Race if you want to. As long as you're careful, then what's the problem?
Well, I did eventually get around him, and we managed to
Coming off the corner or
catch these guys quite handily, and really didn't have any other issues. Well, issues with other drivers, anyway. Yeah, look how much we caught these guys. See, up to second, up to first, and there hasn't been a caution up to this point yet either. So keep that in mind. Although that 16 car is extremely fast, and he's pulled out to quite a good distance in front of us. But yeah, in 49 laps, I made my way up from 14th, I think I started, to 2nd, without the aid of a caution, and I was, in fact, catching the 11 car when I wasn't being held up by lappers. But, you know, with a bit of good work from the pit crew, I was actually able to get out front and lead a few laps, even. Unfortunately, I got passed on the about 5th or 6th lap of the restart.
Oh boy. See, the 11's faster now.
Still there. Still there.
Alright.
Yeah, I just did not have a very good short-run car for this race, and it showed, but once we got about 10 or 15 laps in, it seemed like I was definitely on the same pace as them. Maybe I just wasn't being too aggressive. Maybe I wasn't being aggressive enough, I mean, yeah, it was just frustrating knowing I had the speed, but it just wasn't there in the first 10 to 15 laps. And knowing if I could catch him, I would have to pass him again. It was just a very frustrating endeavor. But, you You know, I surprised myself overall with the speed I showed in this race, but unfortunately I kind of screwed myself. So let's see if we can find that. I believe I'm looking for lap 124 here.
You guys, but in this situation, I'm not Kurt Busch. I'm more like Ricky Craven. I'm kind of the underdog.
I don't know why I'm talking about the 2003 race, but
damn it.
Yep.
I haven't done that all night, and now I start talking about that, and that happens.
Yep, I smacked the wall, and you can see there's some damage on the right front fender. And, you know, I just could not turn the car anymore. I could feel it in the steering wheel. Something was definitely off after that. Something was just not right. The toe felt off. I think I definitely had some damage that was more than just cosmetic on the body. It was causing the aero to suffer. You can see I just fell further and further behind the 16 car until he was out of my sight on the relative box and even out of my sight on the track, even though I was still running second. But yeah, I eventually got caught up in a battle, hit the wall here, got caught up in a battle for second, and I just couldn't hold him off at the end. But I did manage to hang on to third place. So, you know, that was another great points result during the season. So, on to race 9, I guess, at Richmond. Now, this was a very caution-heavy race. It was just ridiculous how many cautions there were in this one. This was the first race of a new build where the tire they used was very controversial, I guess you could say. You know, it just felt like it was like, how do I put this? It just felt like the tire was as hard as a rock. And it felt like you were driving on ice, basically. And it was just awful. And Richmond is already a pretty difficult track for a lot of people. But this build just magnified that like tenfold. And I could probably load any point in the race and you could probably see either pacing under yellow or a crash.
I'm in a bit of traffic.
Yeah, I believe I started 27th or something like that, or maybe 26th in a 29 car field. This was actually my first race in the third split, which I spent the majority of the season in, actually. So, yeah. And yeah, there's a caution. Big surprise. There were 19 cautions in total in the race. But I only managed 8 incidents all in all. So let's see if we can skip ahead a bit here. There's another wreck. There's yet another wreck. Okay, here's my first incident of the night in this race.
Still there.
Might get a spot or two here.
Clear high. Inside. In and out.
There
in
they
and
go.
out.
3 wide. Oh,
Still there. Still
I
there.
knew that was gonna happen.
Inside.
Okay, so I got a 4X here, basically. What happened was basically we were all fighting for position on a restart, as is pretty typical at Richmond. I had the inside line, but somebody was on my outside here. You can see the 29 here on my outside. So I obviously had to run inside of him, scrubbed some speed. The one does not really slow down for this, and he decides to take it 3 wide on a restart. And then the 16, or is it the 15? I'm sorry. The 15 is following him, basically. And he decides, okay, there's room on my outside here. I could get to the inside of this 26 car, which is me. Did I say inside, or I meant to say outside? Yeah, yeah, this is actually taking a lot longer than I expected. You know, I think I'm going to end this tonight because I'm fairly tired, but after this race, we'll pick this up tomorrow, I guess, because I'm kind of tired. And there really isn't anybody watching. So that's okay, though. I mean, I'm sure you guys will want to see this on the YouTube channel. Yeah. Anyway. So, we'll go ahead and continue with this. Oops. I want to put the sound on for this part. Well, actually, I already did that, so... yeah. So, basically, got put 3 wide, and had no choice, really, but to run into that 15 car, and got a 4X for it. Luckily, I didn't really have any damage, though, so I don't think I even... Actually, I did pit, but, yeah, it wasn't that big of a deal. Unfortunately, I got another 4X shortly after that.
One of those guys I don't really trust that well. Whoa, 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 whoa.
Caution, caution, caution.
Ugh, of course I get run over from behind.
Yeah, that was another 4X. But, I got pretty lucky there. I mean, you can't quite tell from the video, but, yeah, I see the wreck happen here, and I pretty much immediately check up and get a little bit lucky. But I'm checking up as hard as I can. Meanwhile, this 13 car is just barreling into me. Luckily, though, there's a bit of netcode, and I receive no damage whatsoever. Yeah. So, I think I did the right thing here by checking up as hard as I did. But, you know, it's just... You know, it's just proof that sometimes you can still do you can do everything right and still have bad things happen. But fortunately, that was the last incident of the race. There were a bunch of cautions leading up to this. So I'll show the last 2 restarts here.
Who knows how many
That was another great bit of wreck avoidance, I think. Yeah, just got pretty lucky there with that. Checked up pretty hard and got lucky. I missed him by inches, basically, and managed to live to fight another day. And it turned into a one-lap shootout from there.
You're in for a treat.
Race cars off, be ready. Green flags out.
That was interesting.
Doing real nice work. We're on that top 10 there. Outside. Still there at your door. Clear.
Whoa!
Stay up top, man.
Holy crap. Alright, we're gonna get a top 10 out of this horrible race.
Yep, I managed a P8 in this one. As you can see here, on the relative box, there she is, P8. So that was a pretty crazy restart. The car on the outside lane spun his tires really, really badly. It was I can't tell which number car it was. It was the 17 car who spins his tires a ton. The 9 car here is starting on the outside starting a couple of rows back. But he passes to the inside too early before the start-finish line. And he gets a black flag, so I'm not really racing him at this point. So, at this point, he's done. But he's still trying to race his heart out. But, so I can't pull up to this 14 car at all. There's a wreck right in front of us. Luckily, we managed to pass it. Unfortunately for some other guys, he pretty much doesn't hold the brakes at all and pretty much drives right into traffic and wrecks a bunch of guys at the end of the race. And I really don't have any time to catch up to the 14 car, so I did pretty much the best I could in that situation, P8. There was another big wreck right behind us, you can see right in the mirrors. You can see there was another wreck right as the race was over. There was actually another wreck, a third wreck on the front straightaway. Yeah. So P8 out of that. But yeah. Yeah, I believe I'm done for tonight. Very tired, honestly. We'll continue to do this over the course of a few races here. Oh, I don't know what that was about. Yeah, I think it's time to call it a night. So, maybe I'll see some of you guys tomorrow. Alright, take care guys. Bye.